Spring is in the air. Can you feel it? And we can here at Buffalo State because we're going outside to talk spring sports today on Bengal Magazine. Up first, Meg Stevens brings lacrosse to the stage along with Jamie Handley, a senior from Auburn, and she's a defender. And then we're going on the track, and Eugene Lewis, head coach of the Bengals, brings along Jazmin Dunham, a sophomore, and she is an All-American, recently named. And then we're going on the diamond and softball. We're bringing the Lekki twins on board, Kyrstin and Kaylee, and they're going to talk about the Bengal season coming up. So we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking lacrosse. All right, it's great to go outside in the spring, and that's where we're going right now with women's lacrosse. Meg Stevens joins us along with Jamie Handley, her senior defender. And Meg, welcome. 3-0 already on the season, but your first stop on Bengal Magazine. Always looking for a little preview of the team this year.
I think we've got a good picture of where we are. We're the deepest we've been in my tenure here. We've rostered 24 players, which is great. And we've been through a learning curve in our first 3 games. It's had its ups and downs, but we're just starting to kind of come around a little bit. So I like where we're at right now. There's always room to improve, but it's nice to say that when you've got 3 wins under your belt. Well,
that's interesting because as I look, you're 3-0, but scoring a lot of goals. I don't see a lot of down there, but as a coach, you probably see some. What pleases you so far, and what are the things you need to tweak on right now?
We didn't have a whole lot of team chemistry our first 2 games.
Okay.
We built on it in practice. Yesterday was the first day we went out, and we felt pretty good as a team. There are definitely major areas of improvement. We've got a lot of room to grow, and I know from the outside when you see wins and you see goals.
Yeah.
But one of the things we talk about with the girls is enjoy the win yesterday, and today's a practice day. We've
Right.
got a lot of things we need to work on. We've got some holes we need to plug, kind of all over the field. So we'll work on it.
Well, I think one hole that you don't have to plug is defender role played by Jamie, coming off an all-conference season last year, first season, with the Bengals. But what does she bring to the table?
Jamie's an incredible defender. You want to talk kind of heart and soul. She won our game ball our first game and probably would have had our second if we had given it out that day. Jamie has an incredible ability just to shut players down and gets it, understands it, will take the charge. Just kind of that hard-headed, all-out defender that you're looking for.
Hard-headed? Is that a compliment?
I'd like to think so.
Okay, I do too. Now, you've had an interesting story. You're a senior, but only your second year here. Tell us how you got to Buffalo State College.
I'm a transfer from Onondaga. Coach kind of motivated me to come to Buffalo.
Not coach.
She's a great motivator. She made Buffalo really sound like the right fit for me, being like the underdog team, and team has a good work ethic.
Your days at Onondaga, you're humble. You were an All-American and also won a national championship with Onondaga. And I'm kind of curious, you've been on a national championship team. What this young lady has done is elevate our program to national standard now. We're nationally ranked. Do you see the ingredients on this team that you may have saw at Onondaga in terms of winning the conference and moving on?
Absolutely. This year we're looking really good, feeling good. I mean, our biggest thing is having team chemistry. If that's the worst problem, then that's a good problem to have. So
yeah, there have been a lot of great teams that have won championships that didn't quite have team chemistry, but that's another issue for another day. When she says a shutdown player, is it similar to what many viewers might think of hockey, where you have a forward or defender who shuts down a high-scoring person? Is that your role on the team?
Yeah. Coach encourages us to take charges and drive the girls out, and we're really working hard to have an aggressive defensive unit this year, and we're being loud and working hard.
Interesting. A lot of goals so far this season. Is this something that we can expect the rest of the year, or is this going to be a quote-unquote high-scoring, high-flying team?
I think really it depends on the game.
Yeah.
We've got to play smart against very good opponents. Our next 3 games will against 3 teams in the top 10 in the country.
Wow.
So your game plan changes for what you're looking for. We have to change and adapt as we find our strengths and weaknesses. So we'll adapt. all that's important to me, I don't care if we win games 2-1. A win's a win, and,
right.
and our defense has to work, our offense has to work, but it's about playing the game plan and playing to the pace that we want to play. Yesterday, one of the things that we were happy with was pace of play. You don't need to score loads and loads of goals. You need to control the game.
Okay.
And again, it depends on your opponent. So I think you'll see us kind of ebb and flow a little bit as the season goes on.
Do you feel at all, Meg, a sense of now, in quotes, I look at that roster and I see 7 seniors. I see 2 seniors that are your top scorers. They've been your top scorers for a while. Do you kind of sense in the back of your head, boy, this is the year? I mean, I don't have to get it done, but boy, it sure is setting up pretty nice for us.
I think the girls have really taken charge of that.
Wow. Okay.
I've really handed quite a bit over to these 7 seniors. I've put a lot of trust in them. I've put a lot of leadership ability in them. And if they want it, they got to go get it.
There you go.
The talent pool is there, and now it's a little bit about motivating your entire team to want it.
Okay.
But the 7 seniors have done a nice job of leading both on and off the field, and they're kind of learning their role in it. You always say this is the year.
Yeah, sure.
But
especially since the program's gotten to this level now. I mean,
so it's exciting.
I don't know if you could have said that 10 years ago, but now you can.
Right, now we can.
Right.
Now we can.
You're headed after today's game, as we tape, there's a game this afternoon, headed down to Florida for 4 games, down to Claremont, great training facility. What's the philosophy there from a coaching standpoint? Are you tweaking? Are you continuing what you've installed, et cetera, et cetera?
We'll make some changes in Florida. We want to get better every single day. This is the hardest strength of schedule we've ever had here at Buffalo State. So between Hamilton before we leave, Colby and Amherst when we first get down to Florida, we've got some great competition, which will allow us to get lots and lots of games. The first time we've played 4 games on break. So we play Virginia Wesleyan, and then we'll catch Union right before we come back.
Okay.
Our real focus is SUNY play. So when we come back, we'll face Ithaca, but then we get into SUNY play, and conference play is what matters. Out-of-conference play needs to get us ready for that in-conference play.
Same for you as an individual? Do you go down there tweaking your game a little bit, or do you just move forward with what you're doing right now?
I think we work hard and move forward at the same time. We're always striving to get better, but, I mean, at this point, we can only just improve on what we've already learned. And
yeah, it's so young in the season still, and I think a Florida trip where you're probably going to have pretty good weather is probably going to help you mature and keep growing as a team and get that chemistry. Got about a minute left. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the conference. Obviously, Buffalo State is a team to beat, if not the team to beat. Give us a little synopsis of what else we can see in the conference this year.
I think one of the things is even our seniors have done a nice job this year is not talking about 1 or 2 teams. You have to be really careful with we don't want a big head. Right. We're the team that everybody wants to beat, yes, but there are lots of teams out there. Okay. When only 4 teams make it into your conference playoffs, there's no guarantees. There's no nothing. Right. So it's playing well against every single team. It's not talking about 1 or 2 teams or 1 or 2 colors that make a big difference for us. It's every game makes a difference in SUNY play. So
30 seconds left. If you were to pick one ingredient that you need to keep moving forward with this team, what would that be?
The ability to adapt. The ability to take what you've learned in practice and then adapt it during a game. Okay. And I think when we get that, we'll start taking that next step that we need to.
Fabulous. Well, ladies, thanks very much for being on the show. Appreciate it. Safe travels to Florida. Get 4 wins and come back and beat Ithaca. There you go. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to stay outside because it's beautiful outside. And we're going to talk track and field with Eugene Lewis. Stay with us. And introducing the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week, it's Jazmin Dunham, a sophomore on our track and field team. Jazmin just coming off an outstanding NCAA Division III Indoor Track and Field Championships. She took fifth in the 60-meter hurdles at 8.83. That's 5th in the country, and that automatically gains her All-American status. She is a health and wellness major from Rochester. So congratulations again to Jazmin Dunham, the sophomore, the Athlete of the Week, presented by Tim Hortons. And guess what? We now have Jazmin Dunham on set, live and in person. Well, not quite live because we taped the show, but congratulations, first of all, Jazmin, on being named an All-American. If you don't mind, I'd like to just kind of, if you don't mind, Coach Lewis, I'm going to talk to the pretty young lady next to you. You're only a sophomore, and I'm just overwhelmed by All-American status because there's only a handful of people that get that recognition. I don't know if it's sunk into you yet. Has it sunk in that you are an All-American?
It has.
Yeah? Has this surprised you at all, Jazmin, being just a sophomore and getting this type of recognition?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, not really.
You felt coming to the collegiate level that you were ready to go and you were ready to run these type of races?
Yes, I was really confident.
Okay. When you first started running track and field, when was it and what got you into track and field?
I started in like middle school.
Okay.
And I started running because my mom, she ran track, so then I ran track.
Okay. And it was just all running and then hurdles? When did hurdles get involved?
I started doing hurdles my senior year in high school.
Okay. And when was it that you said, wow, or maybe somebody said to you, maybe your high school coach or mom said, wow, I'm pretty good at this?
It's probably like outdoor when I made the States.
Okay. Interesting. Now, she's in Rochester. We're in Buffalo. How do the two meet there? She called you, you saw her. What happened in the recruiting trails?
Well, with Jazmin, we obviously seen her compete at the state meet.
Okay.
But her mother also has ties to the Buffalo area. I believe she attended Erie Community College for a short amount of time. So her mom was very comfortable with the Buffalo area. She knew what Buffalo State was all about. So when we began the recruiting process, it was fairly an easy connection because it was such a comfort level with Buffalo and a little bit of a past history there.
Right.
So,
is Greece Olympia, and excuse me for being naive, would you consider that a track and field mecca? Is that something that
absolutely.
They do excel there?
Absolutely. When you look at some of the programs in our conference, Brockport, Geneseo, they definitely recruit that school.
Oh, how about that? Tell us a little bit. Let's go back a little on the indoor season. We have an All-American here who excelled at the indoor season. It's interesting. When I do the research, the men came in third and the women came in second. And normally you would say, well, that's a pretty good showing. But not so much for Buffalo State track and field anymore. And it is amazing, isn't it, how it's like, quote, unquote, expected that you're going to win championships. It's good and bad, isn't it? Absolutely,
because, you spend so much time trying to build a foundation of having high expectations, not only as, as the head coach, but even, our administration, and you recruit athletes who are going to come in and have the same high expectations. Once you get to that plateau, then you have to set new goals. And once we started winning championships, the goal was to continue to win championships. Right. So it's fairly difficult at times to have something that we've been so productive at turn into a negative and have to deal with it. But the fact of the matter is that our kids expect to be champions. Right. And as a coaching staff, we expect to be champions. So we put the pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, we'll put that negative in quote marks because second and a third isn't really too bad, is it? I mean, when you think about it. But tell me about the indoor season, Eugene. Did it go the way you had thought it would go? I know there were some injuries involved there that may have resulted in the second and the third, but the indoor season, did it progress the way you thought it would?
Well, we had a lot of new girls into the program.
Okay.
And obviously the same thing with the men's team. The women's team is extremely talented, but very young. Okay. And I would agree, just in my personal estimation, we felt like we were going to be very competitive at that meet, but we had a couple of injuries that put us in a bad place. I would commend the young ladies for finishing second.
There you go.
I think it was a tremendous amount of work to even go that far. So when you look at the scope of what was accomplished by the women's program, I think we're on the right track. Okay. The men's team, we're working on continuing to develop experience and some maturity. And when I say that, I'm talking about weight room maturity, strength, so on and so forth. And then we can expect them to be back at that same plateau.
Okay. Jazz, how did your season go indoor? Did it progress the way you thought it would, or were there some hurdles along the way, or was it what you expected this season?
It was pretty much what I expected.
Okay. Does the outdoor season pose any new challenges for you as we go from indoor to outdoor?
Yes, outdoor, I have more goals that I want to.
Oh, okay, more goals.
Yeah.
I'm assuming an All-American was a goal for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the more goals then for the outdoor season?
For outdoor, I want to become All-American 4x1 again.
Okay.
And the 100 hurdles and 200.
Yikes, yikes, and yikes. Boy, this is this doable, Coach?
Very doable. Again, that goes along with the high expectations.
Wow.
But a lot of times when we recruit young men and women to come here, particularly in the genre that we're very strong at, which is sprints, jumps, and hurdles.
That's right.
they come in with benchmarks and they know right away what they should be able to accomplish. And the fact that Jazmin is so upfront and direct with her goals is a testament to the fact of she really believes.
Wow.
And that was from day one, and that's why we recruited her.
I keep saying, the confidence level is absolutely amazing to me as a sophomore. And yet, really, that's what the program's all about. And I'm assuming that's what you're, maybe 10 years ago, you're looking at this kind of athlete. Now we're looking at maybe this kind of athlete, and she's sitting right next to you.
Absolutely. That's what you're looking at, Tom. If you've had the opportunity to witness that evolution.
Wow. I'm more curious about that then. So you go to a state meet and you see great times, but then I'm assuming you're talking to people like a Jazz, and you want to hear that confidence, almost, and not to say she's cocky, but to that point of, I'm really good and I want to go to a good program.
Well, one of the things that I'm very proud about Buffalo State College is there was a time where we would recruit athletes who were what we thought were Division I capable. And they've chosen this college for academic reasons.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things that, I'm very proud about this institution. I think we've been able to compete on the academic level in terms of students are coming here for the right reasons. It's not just track and field. And Jazmin is here as a testament to that. It was an academic, it was a comfort, location, those kind of things that made Buffalo State #1.
Okay. I know there is a difference. I wish we had 20 minutes to talk to you because I love talking track and field. But there is a major difference between indoor and outdoor in terms of how they train and the whole atmosphere, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to quite get into that, but what can we expect from the outdoor season from your programs?
Well, again, there's some areas within the program that we need to continue to grow. We've done an excellent job with that. Coach Allen, Coach DeMitt, Coach Thompson, Coach Hicks, and I have to say those names because they're out recruiting athletes each year to expand our performance overall as we transition into outdoor. So our expectations are the same. We're going to try to compete for a championship. I definitely think we're the top 2 or 3 teams. Health is going to be an issue. If we can stay healthy, we have quality athletes that can compete at a high level. Okay. So my expectations would be if we're healthy, we're going to be very competitive. And
30 seconds, do you go into the season relatively healthy right now, or are we still getting healthy?
Right now, as a coach, I'm going to stay positive and say we're healthy.
Okay, terrific. Well, Jazmin, first of all, congratulations. Thanks for being on the show. Great to meet you. And, Coach, keep going.
Absolutely.
Have a great outdoor season. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to stay outside. We're going to talk softball. Stay with us. But before we do, I do want to remind you of the Bengal Club Golf Tournament being played Monday, July 9th at the Briarwood Country Club. It benefits the 400 student athletes here at Buffalo State. And if you're interested in playing or you want to sponsor the tournament, call me directly at 878-6514, 878-6514, or go to our website at buffalostateathletics.com. You'll see the banner right across the page and click it on and start filling it out and sending it to me. So that's the July 9th Bengal Club Golf Tournament benefiting the student athletes here at Buffalo State. All right, let's stay outside now and go on the softball field with the Lekki twins from the Bengals, Kyrstin and I did it. See that? Kyrstin and Kaylee. And see, I'm married to a twin, and she's real close, even in her late 40s with her twin. But you guys are identical. Now, look into that camera right there, camera 1. Now, how do the viewers know the difference between you two?
Well, I have blonde hair and I have a mole underneath my eye.
And you didn't get, or did you get the mole and take it off just so we could recognize? Okay, enough about being twins. Let's talk softball a little bit. I'm going to let you play Coach Hollander and tell me a little bit about this team, a little overview of what we can expect from the Bengals.
Well, it's exciting because we have a lot of good freshmen that came in this year, which in the past, we've had good freshmen, but they're very good. We have a lot of freshmen, starters that are going to play the field.
Wow, okay. So. From your perspective, Kyrstin?
I would say we have a lot of depth. Most I've ever played with here.
Wow, how about that? Okay, yeah. Terrific. Let's go individually because you play 2 different positions, although you're identical. You play 2 different positions. Let's go with Kaylee first, and excuse me for pausing. Even though she's in my class, I still don't know who she is. Pitching, first base, but really predominantly pitching now. Interesting season last year because you were just kind of thrown into pitching. Were you expecting that last year?
Not at all, actually. I would just pitch, in practice full round. I would throw batting practice when I was, a sophomore or a freshman. But then one day she's like, you want to know what? Like, maybe
like you could work at this to be your position. And then one day I was in the gym and I was in my socks, just fooling around, and she said, "Go ahead." And
now she being
Coach Hollander. Yep. She's like, "I just want to see what you can do." And then she's like, "Well, you're going to start going to pitching practices next week." So
well,
I was
how
like,
about that? And there was a little bit of a need. I mean, we should tell the viewers that, but she also saw something inside there. What was it like? I mean, when you got on the field and she kept giving you the ball to start? Were you excited? Were you nervous? How did that? How were the emotions?
I was very excited. I pitched when I was in high school.
You did?
Yeah,
okay.
When I was in high school, I pitched, but then I took 2 years off where I didn't touch a ball. I didn't pitch in a game or none of that. It was a very different feeling. It was like I was back home, but it was just like, oh, like this is where I used to be.
Oh,
you know?
That's cool. Yeah.
So
you no pitching at all for 2 years?
No, I never pitched in a game at all for 2 years.
Okay.
Not even in summer ball. I transitioned to another position. I played first
right.
when I was a freshman and sophomore, and then one day it was just that one day, and then by the end of the season, I was starting every first game.
And now we've had a half a year or a year and an off season and a camp. One of the best, if not the best, pitching coach in the area is with the Bengals with Pam Amabile. What are you learning, picking up? What is she teaching you?
She's amazing. First of all, I absolutely love her. She is so motivating. She's so encouraging. She just wants you to hit your spots. She wants you to work hard when you practice with her. She's always making you better every practice, and she's always sending you away with things to work on. So in the next week when you see her, you can just get better at it.
Right.
So when we're pitching with her, we're working on things. She's teaching us how to do different drills and stuff, and then we work on them on our own.
Fabulous.
And then next week, the following week, we work on
is her philosophy more hitting spots or throwing strikes?
Hitting spots, definitely, because if you're up 0-2, you want to throw a ball.
There you go.
So
absolutely.
Not always is it throwing strikes.
And now we go to your twin sister, Kyrstin, and a three-time all-conference player and a senior. You do everything. You're a terrific fielder, a terrific hitter. Individually now, what are you working on heading into this season?
I would say to cut my errors in half in the field.
Okay.
I think it's one thing. Hitting's a whole different game. You have to split them up. I think the biggest thing is if you make an error in the field, you got to come in and hit.
Right.
And sometimes, you take what you did on the field and you don't,
right.
you strike out the next time because you're thinking about what you did in the field.
Right. And vice versa too. You may strike out, but
Yeah.
you don't want to. And I tell this to my 16-year-old daughter all the time. You may strike out, but we need you in the field. Then you have to get that out of your head. Correct. Mm-hmm. I could say though that some of your errors are because of your range. And do you agree with that, or are these more mental mistakes on your part?
Sometimes you dive and you miss a ball and you're like, that's a tough error to take.
How could they give me an error?
Yeah,
on that?
But you got to go for them.
Right.
So.
Coach Kern, Marie Kern, is with the team in her second year, former head coach at UB, and what does she, when I'm around the ladies in practice, I watch you guys, I see this bond with Coach Marie. What does she bring to the table for you?
She's very motivating. She constantly wants you to get better. If you want extra hitting, she'll come in early for you. If you want to work on slapping, if you want to work on diving for balls or the way you approach balls, she'll come in extra for you.
Right.
Not that the other coaches don't do that. She just,
right.
She wants you to get better so bad.
Right.
And you could see it with her every day.
From a hitting perspective, what is she trying, what are her 3 or 4 main objectives with the hitters?
She takes it, you work on one thing a day. I take a lot of inside pitches, which I shouldn't, because that's a good pitch to hit, and I take it every time. So, most of the spring or before we're going in, I hit only inside pitches with her. So she takes it one step at a time, makes something perfect before she goes on to the next thing.
Okay, interesting. And I think she wants you to hit a little bit more for power, correct? And how is she doing that?
When you have stats like I do, people know who you are.
Right.
So it's a lot of off-speed stuff. So we're hitting front toss, and she'll throw in a changeup, and then I look stupid. So she tries to make you a better player every day. Well,
the Lekki twins, Kyrstin and Kaylee, thanks for being on the show. Best of luck. Great trip down south and come back. I think you take on Ithaca when you come back too, if I'm not sure. So looking forward to that, and I appreciate you being on the show. We are going to wrap up this edition of Bengal Magazine. Make sure you get outside, come see lacrosse, track and field, and softball. And we'll see you in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.